Three, two, one. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Founders Log. I am your host, Calvin Wineland, with the behind the scenes to American Butchers JERKi, talking about the past, the present, and the future of what is the American Butchers JERKi enterprise. Today is the 15th of May, 2021. We are on the 20th iteration here, talking about behind the scenes. Welcome. It's an afternoon show today because we're a little late to the start of the Saturday morning kickoff tradition, but we have good reasoning, good faith, good explanations, because let me tell you, the past week has been extremely busy. We've been trying to do these once a week. It has been a little bit of a disaster with trying to stay on that. I've talked about in previous iterations of these Founders Logs, previous podcasts, how we're trying to do our best to stay on top of these weekly things, but it can be a challenge. So what I've just kind of taken on the mindset is perfection is the enemy of good. I can't be perfect at everything, but as long as I can try my best to be good at some things, well, we are cooking with fire. But without further ado, we usually just dive right into everything that's happened in the past week, talked about some things, talking about what is currently happening, and then, of course, moving forward to where we kind of see ourselves going in the direction of travel. And this last couple weeks has been pretty interesting. We've had a lot of highs as a business, and we've had a few lows. And honestly, I think that it just comes with the nature of the business. We see everything that it's not all sunshine and rainbows. And something that I've kind of been working on that I want to explain with you guys is, we are officially almost at our 1-year anniversary. Tomorrow, the 16th of May, Sunday, will have been our 1-year launch. Talk about a pretty big, impressive success story. I'm super excited with how everything turned out. I've learned and developed not only as a individual, but as a business owner. I've learned to kind of figure out steps and realize that the business is not going to progress unless you are progressing the business. Let's just hypothetically throw a scenario. If I don't aid or do anything related to American Butchers JERKi on a Tuesday or today, then tomorrow nothing is going to be happening because I didn't do anything the day before. It's kind of like going to the gym. You're never going to get six-pack abs if you just continue to never work on your abs. You know how you get six-pack abs? By working on your abs, by taking the necessary steps to accomplish the mission at hand. You're never going to complete your project unless you actually put work on your project. So I say that and I start to realize that I need to actually put in the action to the words that I'm talking about. This past week has really just been, for those of you who don't know, I do have a full-time job. American Butchers JERKi has been this kind of, not side gig, but like it's been a side hustle. I'm trying, you as a individual, it's important to have your main priorities, your goals in life and objectives, but it's also important to work on something towards the side. Work on something on the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Work on something instead of letting a numb mind is a dangerous mind, is something that I heard. Unless you are actively, progressively getting your mind to be engaged in something, it'll just slowly start to numb and it'll slowly start to fade away. And that's why American Butchers JERKi was really developed. It was something to give me a goal, give me something to work on, give me like direction and purpose. Well, I already have purpose in my full-time gig, but it was kind of this opportunity to feel out what it takes to be a business owner, feel out the success and the failures. And this was something that I had never really embarked on before. First business running here. And let me tell you, it's been an interesting one. But I've been talking a lot about the negatives. Let's just we'll line up to bat and crush out the positives. So big shout out, ladies and gentlemen, to Waypoint Bank in Nebraska, Cambridge, Nebraska. They reached out to us, so I thought this was pretty cool. They reached out to us saying that they were interested in purchasing some bags for a raffle, as well as purchasing some bags to be donated overseas. That was incredible, pretty cool for that a company like themselves or a business would like to make that type of contribution. And they purchased bags because in Nebraska they have a lot of beef growers, a lot of ranchers and farmers, and what they wanted to do was May is apparently beef month. I actually didn't even know this, and we sell beef jerky. But they had highlighted to us that May is beef month, and so what they wanted to do was host these raffles and give out free beef jerky in a fundraiser type raffle auction style, and they reached out to us trying to partner with us and thought that was an awesome idea. And to caveat with that, or to add on to that, they wanted to also donate some beef jerky overseas. So when they purchased bags from us, they automatically sended beef jerky overseas. And then they went up one above and asked for they asked for bags to be donated directly overseas. So big shout out, big just thank you to them, to Waypoint Bank in Nebraska for being a part of that and just allowing us to be able to fill that. That's something that we are still, the sadness or upsetness to what we've been doing is we overbooked or we over inventoried our stock, and it's been trying to figure out best ways to get that stock turning. So I'd say turning in the way that we have the stock, we're trying to get not rid of the stock, but sell the stock, sell the inventory. And we still have some bags here, so we're just trying to turn that inventory around so that we can continue to progressively get bigger. And I see it as we don't move inventory, we're not progressively getting better or bigger as a business. So that is something that we've factored a little bit. And for those of you who have been on our site recently, we also have changed up things just a little bit in the way that we've included a few upgraded pictures to our website. We've included some of these founder logs down at the bottom. We're incorporating more of our Instagram and engaging more with our audience. That's something that we've been trying to do a lot more, but something that we kind of need to still work on. That's as we progressively get better, as we progressively move forward, there are things that I want to try and accomplish in the direction. And I think what I've seen work best is actually writing down what it is that I want to accomplish and working forward to that. And so, for example, in the past 2 weeks, we have put a big emphasis on Instagram and a big emphasis on like engagement and publishing Instagram posts and trying to incorporate those daily thanks that we use Twitter and trying to accomplish these podcasts. And so this kind of transitions into what we currently are doing right now is what we want to do is put sticky notes up and basically say, these are the goals for American Butchers JERKi for this specific week. And as it's more and more of a sole partner working on this project and it becomes a sole entity working on this project, i.e. me, it's trying to make sure that I am accomplishing the goals that we want to achieve. So, for example, something that I would like to work on or something that I'm currently trying to develop is they say you should treat your business as if you are a marketing company for your business. So think of yourself as a marketing company and basically visualize what a marketing company would do for you. And then you turn around and essentially pull that thoughts, those actions, and then put them out. So you need to be engaged on podcasts, Twitter, Instagram. You have to continue to blow up that business as if you were going to have a marketing company essentially work for you. And given that we have now developed the product, given that we have now focused entirely on now branding the product, we've put a good emphasis on getting us to where we are. And now we essentially have to take what we currently have and progressively build upon it. So that's something that we're working on. That's something what we're trying to do, something that we are currently working on. And last week or 2 weeks ago, I brought up a pretty interesting situation because we talked about bad product and we talked about a little mold potentially on growth, and we were going to try and get answers or trying to see what that exactly was. And well, it's safe to say I don't have an answer for you guys. I was hoping that by now we could have a reason or an explanation as to what that growth was, and we just don't. We don't have an answer yet. And we did receive some sad news. We did receive some upsetting news because a unit that we had sent, I think 20 bags to, had recently reached out to us and said that some of their bags of beef jerky had gone bad. And they had explained to us that when they received it in the mail, it essentially sat in a mail yard in Afghanistan underneath the sun. And then it moved from that mail yard to an indoor conditioning room where it sat in the air conditioner for a little bit. And then it got transferred over through a plane over to another mail yard where it was then gifted to our troops. So something that we are trying to work on is how do we create a product that is sustainable through a variety of heat climates. So it's cold, it's hot, and it's kind of like a beer. If you've ever heard of skunking a beer, it's essentially where you take a cold beer and you let it sit out for a while, and then you put it back in the fridge thinking, oh, I'm going to get it chilled again, and then you pull it out and you're like, all right, I'm ready to consume this beer. Well, if you've ever consumed that beer, it tastes off, and they call it skunking. And so essentially that beer has now been changed in the climate, and it changes the taste, so it's no longer exactly what you purchased. It's not the taste you were hoping for. So our beef jerky has basically developed that same type of style with some type of growth on it, that as it starts in this cool climate, it then transitions into a hot temperature and then transitions back into a cold temperature and then is given to the consumer. And that transition can actually affect the outcome of the beef jerky. And so that's something that as we are progressively moving forward is I have to develop, and I have to work on trying to create the best product possible for the best consumer possible. And i.e. our top consumer right now is service members stationed overseas. So I want to make sure that our product does exactly what it's supposed to for those who are currently deployed right now. And that's something that I've got to work on. I've got to create. That'll be year 2 project for us. But as we're rounding off the corner, this transitions into our deployment conversation and essentially how we are talking to move forward. Because right now, this transitions into the future of American Butchers JERKi, because there are a few things that are going to be happening in the next couple months that we have to work towards, that we have to continue to work to be better at. And one of those things is handling engagement with customers. When we get a lot of customers on our website, and it sometimes ranges between 15 sessions or 15 users throughout the day and goes up to like 30 users per day. And what happens is a lot of those users actually are filling out forms to receive beef jerky. So we have that slide on our website to sponsor a hero or to donate towards a unit overseas, and people fill those out, and I get an email for it, but we don't have the support from customers to actually fulfill those orders. So as it currently stands, we've been about this since day one. Every 2 bags purchased sends 1 overseas. Well, when we get all these orders, we don't have enough inventory to fulfill basically those orders. We're not selling enough. We're not turning enough inventory to be able to donate overseas. And that is something that what I've tried to do as a business owner is, if I've noticed a unit is on that list for a long time and it's been like 3 months or 4 months and they're still overseas, I actually have multiple times just gone ahead and donated some bags overseas and just kind of picked up, I don't want to call it pick up the tab, but I've essentially just tried to get a most amount of bags being donated overseas. And even if we don't have a fulfillment for those bags, what we've done is just try and help out and try and cover those on. And that's something that I need to work on. I need to try and engage better. But positive notes, because that's something that we got to work on. But we have been doing much better when it comes to our Instagram. We've been engaging a lot. We've been engaging with a lot more customers through Instagram, just contributing towards reaching a larger audience. So we're reaching a larger audience, which in return allows us to potentially gauge more of a return on our investment, return on our inventory, and be able to donate overseas. So it kind of works hand in hand with one another. It kind of, as you increase one thing, hopefully another thing's going to increase, which then helps another area, and progressively all those areas then make it what it is today. And if something that we're trying to accomplish or something that we're trying to work on doesn't work, then we try and tweak it a little bit, and we try and see, okay, this direction didn't work. What if we try and do it this way? And that's something that we did see as a positive return, because Brotalion, a company that also works with current military service members, they focus a lot around the aviation community. They are hosting a fundraiser at the end of June to basically support their foundation that goes to aviators who have lost their lives. They go towards their families. And their organization reached out to us trying to get some beef jerky for their fundraiser. So we said, of course, we've got to package that and send that to them. But that's what I'm talking about. That is the type of connection or bonds that we build, is we might not be selling inventory like crazy, but we're helping organizations. We're helping support active duty military. We're helping support families of military. And that is the number one goal. That right there is what we're trying to accomplish. Now, I've talked about this before, but if you sold a bunch of cars and your profit went all into those cars, for Ford, for example, and you sold 1 million Fords, that's awesome. And Ford is making a crap ton of money. But now let's look at Tesla. Tesla is creating a car to try and better the environment. They're trying to make a sustainable car that works off electricity to basically eliminate gasoline. They're trying to solve a problem. And does Elon Musk make nearly as much money? I mean, yes, he does make a load of money, but he doesn't make the amount of cars that Ford makes. He doesn't turn enough profit, but I guarantee when he goes to sleep, he knows that he's making a good impression on the environment, and he goes to sleep knowing that he's making a difference. And Ford, nothing against Ford. I'm sure they're doing great things over there. But sometimes it's better to go to sleep knowing that you're making a difference than just pulling in a larger amount of dollars. And honestly, when I go to sleep and I realize the amount of bags that we've already donated overseas and the amount of organizations that we've already contributed to, that alone helps me sleep at night. And so we're not making the most amount of profit in a given year. At the end of the day, like I said, I can sleep well at night knowing that we're making a big difference. And that is just what helps drive us moving forward. That helps us continue to get better every day and continue to work on this side project, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to be better. We're trying to work forward. And we're just trying to, honestly, support the military as much as possible. But yeah, that leaves a lot of kind of thought process into the next week, into the future. I have one thing that I'm going to talk about next week, because I can push it off till next week, but things are changing in the next month. Things will be a little different for the podcast, for the company, but we'll save that for next month or next week's iteration of the Founders Log. So stay tuned. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for just taking the time to listen to the iteration number 20 of the Founders Log on May 15th. Y'all have a great rest of your afternoon, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.